lovely friends, and a very warm welcome to another mixed media tutorial with me, Lisa Taggart, and I hope you're enjoying the extravaganza so far and the lovely new stamps. This one's called Blossom Bridge and it uses the delightful Sacred Bridge from the new release, and it's really glorious. So if you want to know how this was created, let's first of all look at the materials. We're using hot press watercolour card, which is nice and flat for stamping. We're using the Van Gogh pencil set. Mine are well loved, as you can see. Also using the Elements ink pads, we've got Della Blue and Lime Punch, along with Bermuda and Olive as well. We're also using VersaFine Clair in Pinecone and Shady Lane, Kitsch Flamingo in Distress Ink, and the lovely Zig Clean Colour markers, a couple of browns, a pale olive green, a yellow and a dark blue grey, but use what you have. Also using a Posca pen in pale pink, yellow and white gel pens, but all Poscas would be fine. I've got a pencil and a black fine liner, an applicator for the pastels, and also the small, medium and large in the stencil brushes, along with a brush from the large brush set from Lavinia as well. Of course, some stickles, we've got lime green this time. Now moving on to the lovely stamps, we've got Sacred Bridge, we've got Swan, Dragon's Thorn, Thimbleweed, Dana, who's so cute. We've also got some older stamps, Bulrushes, Lily Pad, and also Cherry Tree and Cherry Blossom. A lovely assortment this week, and if you would like to convert all of those into something that looks a little like this, with the ferry under the bridge and the swans, just keep on watching. Now we're starting off with 7 by 5.5 inches watercolour card, and I've drawn out this shape. You can take a screenshot if you'd like to copy it. 4 inches down the right and 3 down the left, up to the highest points in each side. And we're going to use our brush and our stencil brushes and our ink pads in a slightly different way this week. I've taken out quite a few here, and as you can see, I didn't use all of them in the end up. But starting with Della Blue, which is one of my favourites, I must say. And we're taking a medium-sized stencil brush, and I'm just lightly, with small circular motions, adding some colour onto the page in little sort of dappled blue, and I'm thinking of a cloudy sky. And you don't have to be too particular, just put down little dots of colour here and there, because what we're going to do now is we're going to dampen our paintbrush and keep a piece of kitchen towel to hand as well. There's mine. Take off excess water and just lightly then, again in circular motions, dab some water onto that to spread the ink across the card. Also carrying on to the foreground, and of course in any picture the colour you have in the sky is reflected in water, and I'm just using the stencil brush to sweep some ink across the card, and I've done that in an arch. I want to keep the centre of the water fairly light, and I'll be darkening down either side. Again, I'm taking my brush with a little water and I'm spreading that out just to make it a little smoother. Moving on now to the Bermuda. And going back to the background, as I was saying, the top 2/3 will be concentrating on doing some the impression of foliage and trees, nothing too precise. In the same way as we did the clouds above, we're just placing down some ink here and there and taking our brush and spreading that out to sort of give the impression of background trees and foliage. We're starting to add some shadows, perhaps, making it up as I'm going along. I will define the shadows better when we've done the stamping, but I know that I want light in the centre and I'd like the either side of the water to be darker in tone. So what I'm doing now is making sure, like the top half, adding different colour greens to the water to reflect what's in the land. So there you are. Now taking the brush. Now this time I want the brush to be just damp and very little water, because what I'm doing is I'm sweeping it downwards, and I'm just taking the pigment that hits the brush and moving it downwards, so it looks like foliage in the water. Now, next up we're using our pastel pencils, and I'm going to start off on the land at the top, and I'm just adding a few little lines here and there to indicate trees through the foliage. Now, again, you don't have to do this because a lot of it will be covered up in the end up, but I always think the layers are important because little aspects of each layer will poke through in the end. So it's up to you. This bit is optional. Now, the little bit in the centre there I did with the dark blue, and just adding the same sort of thing again. I think it's probably a wee bit more important to fill that part in, as you will see it. Again, I'm thinking of reflections in that tiny little area and adding some more, it's like a navy colour, reflections to the water. And I also then put on some white, if you can see there, across white gel pen, which also just creates the water effect. Now we're moving on to the star of the show, and this is such a glorious stamp, and this is the Sacred Bridge, and it's so beautiful. that's it. Now the little fairy I stamped off camera, a second generation ink in brown, just to have her in place. And now we're going to take the Zig Clean colour in blue, grey, pale dawn grey and beige, I think it is. Now I think off camera I also add like another brown to the to the middle of the bridge there. You can see it now, and I blended it in later because I wasn't very happy with the rustiness of it, but it's there for now, and I think I blend it with the mid-tone brown later on. Now I'm going back to the water, and I'm really just darkening up what I did before with the ink pads, and this time I'm adding more definition to the reflection. Now that I have the trees, I know what to reflect, so just by eye estimating what they might look like in the water. They don't need to be a perfect reflection, particularly if there's movement in the water. They'll shake about and not look exactly the same, so don't worry. Something like that, and keep the darkest part towards where the land meets the water. And I also thought I'd put in the shape of the bridge in the water. I wasn't sure whether I wanted it reflected in the water, whether the light would mean that it was reflected, but I thought I would just add it in very lightly to see how it looks. I didn't want to stamp it in the water because I just didn't want to be left with the image, even if it's a light pale reflection, and then not want it in the picture. So I'm using the pastels for the reflection, and I think it worked out okay, just as a hint. Carrying on then with the foliage in the water at the right hand side, and I do have in my mind at this stage that I want to add some foliage at the top of the picture coming down, so this is what will be reflected in the water in this side until it looks something like that. And I've added some yellow gel pen to highlight the little fairy in parts, and also very importantly some of the top of the bridge. I've added some yellow to that. Now that the swans are dry, and they need to be perfectly dry before we use our pastel pencils on top, I'm taking this flesh colour, or it's almost like a very pale salmon colour, but use a pale pink or a white or a grey. But this is just to give a shadow colour to the white. And as you can see, where the dark areas of the swan might be, I'm using this colour. And then I'm taking my white, which really should be sharpened. Apologise, I don't know why it's such a bad state that I try to draw with these unsharpened pencils. Is a mystery to me. But there you go. I think it's because I don't have a very good sharpener. But I'm trying to whiten the top of the swan up. And I'll take this in layers and try to build it up, and you'll see that I do manage to get it lighter, and I'm just eyeballing the reflection, and just thinking what it might look like. I'm not too concerned, it's just an indication of a reflection, and putting that in the water. And as long as you have a deep line in between, it will look like a reflection. I think I've added that off camera. I've just used a black pastel pencil to delineate the line between the water and the reflection. And this bit is fun because when you add the orange pop, then it looks like a swan all of a sudden. And again, reflect that in the water. And to get the lovely white, I'm using this very badly behaved gel pen. Now it's an old gel pen, and really should have used a newer one for this. So it was a bit temperamental, but I battled away with it anyway. And it's very important then to have these very bright highlights, I think, and then blend them in again with the pastels. So I'm using the pen, the very naughty gel pen, on top. And in the end up it looked like feathers the way it was coming out, so I was happy enough with it, even though it wasn't spreading as I'd hoped. I would recommend, if you're using a Posca pen or a gel pen, maybe to use a fresh one if you're doing this, and I'm a bit nervous about wrecking the whole thing. Then the lines also in the water make it come together, and blending out those rough edges with back to that fleshy colour. But a grey would also work as well. And there I've done both of them, finished both of them in exactly the same way, with using the same techniques.
Is something untold, and I gotta know if I'm going insane, 'cause there's life in the wind, it's calling my name. It's magic, wouldn't you know? It's something fantastic, wants to be known, and all that you gotta do What if
So I hope you like it. Just prior to doing this picture, I was on a beautiful walk in a place I go locally to walk the dogs, and it has a lake, and it happened to have a beautiful swan on the lake. So I must say I was feeling very inspired before I started my project. So thank you so much for joining me today, and I do hope that it's inspired you to create something of your own, even use some of the techniques to create a different picture. And of course, until next time, take very good care of yourselves, and above all, don't be afraid of it. Get creating, be brave, and enjoy the adventure.